What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 6 tech features found inside the all-new 2020 Hyundai Sonata. So the 2020 Hyundai Sonata is packed with technology features. If you've seen my full review, you'll know I talked about everything in detail. I'll leave it in the card above. But in this video, I wanted to narrow it down to a shorter list and kind of go through these broad strokes items for you in a somewhat detailed way, but not as in-depth as we would do in a full review. Now, I could pick anything. I could start at the headlights, I could work all the way down to the taillights and everything in between, but let's just start with a couple key ones outside, no pun intended on that, but we'll start with number 1, and that is the digital key. Now, if you've watched my full review, you'll know that you have to be a registered owner of the vehicle to access these features. So the digital key inside the BlueLink application and the digital key that is like a hotel card key. Unfortunately, I am not registered as an owner of this vehicle. I tried to set up kind of a guest account, didn't really work. So I'll just outline it for you, and I'll put a couple clips on the screen here from Hyundai themselves, kind of showing you what's going on. But basically, you have 2 different options to get inside your car and to start your car. One being that BlueLink app that I talked about that has the digital key inside of it. And what you'll do is on an Android smartphone, unfortunately, it's not available for iOS yet because it requires NFC. iOS is restricted with their NFC only to Apple Pay, but hopefully we'll be getting that in a future update. But Android smartphones can download the BlueLink app, register your vehicle, and then you can use your phone as a key. So you'll just walk up when you've got it registered, place your phone up against a door handle here, and it will unlock and you can get in, and so on. You can lock it and whatnot. And then when you're inside the car, there's a little pad. You just place your phone down in that pad in the NFC area and you'll be able to start your car just like a physical key. And then number 2, you can use the digital key that Hyundai provides to you. It's more so a physical key in that sense because it is an actual piece of plastic, but once it's registered, you can just walk up, place it on your door handle there, and it will unlock the car for you. Then you can place it down in the NFC area and you'll be able to start your car just like you would with using your smartphone. So 2 different ways to use Hyundai's digital key, one a more physical key and one an actual digital key on your smartphone. So that is number 1, the Hyundai digital key. Now, number 2 is also on the outside of the car, and this is a big headlining feature of this vehicle. And I have never seen it at this price point before on any other car, so I think it's really fantastic. And it is the remote smart parking assist feature. Now, how that works is you'll use your key fob, a beautifully redesigned key fob, by the way. And once you pull up to a parking spot, you'll get out of your car, you'll push a little button on the inside of the cabin, and then you'll be given the ability to control your car with the key fob. That's right, controlling your car, moving it forward and backwards, just using the key fob, no driver in the car whatsoever. Most of these kind of features are restricted to more luxury vehicles. Tesla has it. I'm pretty sure BMW has it. I'm sure there's plenty of other luxury manufacturers that have it. This is on a $34,000 car right here, the ability to do this. So super, super awesome, super convenient. And you know, you can use it for other applications. It doesn't have to just be backing your car in and out. It can be, you know, minor readjustments when you didn't pull forward enough or you didn't back up enough. Little things like that, even if you don't need help, you know, fitting into a compact spot, which is, I think, its main intention. So basically, what you'll do is, like I said, if you're inside the car, you're getting out, you'll push the button and then you'll have control over it. You can move it forward and back. But if you're outside the car trying to move it in and out just on its own, what you're gonna do, you're gonna press the lock button, then you're gonna press and hold the remote start button, and then you're gonna press and hold either backwards or forwards depending on which way you need to go. So let's go ahead and let's move it forward a little bit. Let's go ahead and straighten the tires out a little bit. And there she goes. Now, this does have some limitations. You have to be within 10 feet of the vehicle for it to work. And it also has all the parking sensors that it utilizes to avoid hitting things. Now, you can still potentially hit things if the sensors, if there's something above the sensors, let's say there's a railing or something like that. If the sensors cannot detect it, you do run the risk of hitting it. Same as in the front, you do run the risk if it's above the front sensors on the hood. But luckily, because it only works within 10 feet, usually that's something that you won't miss. Now, also glass can run into a problem if you have a glass garage door or glass windows that you're backing up to. Be careful with that. But yeah, so that's it going forward. Now you can't see it, obviously, it's right there, but I'll go ahead and press and hold to back it up. I gotta scoot forward a little bit because I'm not in that range. I just play with it all day. Boom, there it is. Super simple, super convenient. I can see tons of applications with this. There's plenty of times where I pull into a spot, I'm like, man, I'm 6 inches too close or 6 inches too far back. I wish I could just kick it forward a little bit. You just nudge it forward a little bit without even having to go all the way, get back in the car, start it, do the whole 9. Even from a couple feet away, you can just bump it forward real quick and then it goes ahead and shuts itself down just like that. Fantastic feature. So that is number 2, remote smart parking assist. Let's go ahead and hop inside the cabin and take a look at the rest of the cool new tech features inside the 2020 Sonata. All right, so there was a lot of tech outside and there's a lot of tech inside. And I'm gonna kind of narrow it down, or maybe not narrow it down, but kind of broaden it to these 3 specific displays, and really the 3 main displays that we have in here. You've got the 12.3-inch digital dash, the 10.25-inch Infotainment Center, and then the heads-up display. Let's start by talking about the digital dash. So it's exactly what it sounds like. You have everything in digital. You've got all your gauges, you've got all your safety systems, all your lights, all your vehicle information as well, and even some cameras, which we'll take a look at in a second. So everything up here, gas gauge there, telling you how many miles you have left on the tank, temperature, how many miles you've driven, oil temperature as well. You can see your lane departure assist, you can see what gear you're in, you can see if your lights are on or not, you can see a compass, and then you've got the option to switch through these different informations. So you've got your tire pressure, your drive mode, whether you're normal or sport. You can add your own content like media and things like that. You can see your fuel economy. So right now I'm averaging about 20 miles per gallon. And then you can see your average miles per gallon, average miles driven, all that kind of stuff. And you can switch through pages as well, and that'll give you your trip computer, that kind of stuff. And then your adaptive cruise control with stop and go, a compass, all that good stuff. So everything right there on the digital dash. Now as well, you've got your drive mode selector. So if you switch that to sport mode, it will do a little animation there and it will change your gauges over to red, more of a sporty look to them with a new font. And then if you go back to, custom or normal mode, it'll switch the font back to a more chill, relaxed font, do a little blue cooling off animation and give you that stuff back. Now the best part about the digital dash, in my opinion, is the adaptive cruise control and the visuals that you get on it. So how that kind of works is once you turn on your adaptive cruise control, you can set the distance you want to be and you want your vehicle to maintain between you and the car in front of you. And it will give you a cool little visual indicator of that. So as you increase the distance, once you set a speed, it's a little hard to demonstrate when the car is not moving, but I'll give you some driving footage to help you see better. But once you set the distance of the vehicle in front of you, it'll show you how great that distance is, and then it will maintain that even if the car in front of you comes to a stop or slows down. And yes, it will bring you to a complete stop if necessary. So that's really cool. I went ahead and set the cruise control. It's set at 25 miles an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and set it to 37. Let's go ahead and crank it up. So I've got the furthest possible distance here set between me and the car in front of me, but I can go ahead and drop that down a little bit, and that will bring me up closer to this van that's in front of me here. And again, I'm not touching the wheel at all. It's making lane adjustments for me. So it's actively catching me up to the van in front of me here, but once it gets within that certain distance, it'll start to slow me down to maintain a close distance to the truck in front of me, but not too close based on the settings I have. So you can see the screen on the screen there, the additional car. So it's keeping me that close. Now, if I were to increase that distance, it's gonna slow me down even more as that car in front of me starts to slow down too, because it's gonna try and keep that further distance. So now it's bringing me to a complete stop. I'm not pressing the gas at all or the brake at all. And it brought me to a complete stop right there. Now it's at a green light, so I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. Yep, and it's gonna start accelerating as the car gets further and further away from me. Again, I'm not pressing, my foot is not on either pedal right now, and not on the steering wheel either. And that van in front of me is stopping now, so it's slowing me down automatically. And then it's gonna speed me back up as this car moves forward. It's really like you don't have to do anything outside of those kind of evasive maneuvers. Sometimes the lane following assist doesn't work great, but for the most part on good painted lines on the highway, it works really well. So that is the digital dash. Now, the only complaint that I have is it's fairly limited as far as customization goes. The only color changes are when you change driving modes, and there's not really like a cleaner design, like maybe where the gauges themselves disappear and you just see the numbers and things like that some other digital dashes on other manufacturers and other models have. So that's something that could easily be fixed in a software update. So it's really kind of hard to complain about it because it could change any day. But as far as right now, it is fairly limited as far as the things that you can do. All right, so that is the digital dash. Now let's move on over to the 10.25-inch Infotainment Center. Now I went through all of the different features in it in my review, which you can see down in the description. But basically, I like this layout way more than I like vertical screens. So I'd rather have an ultra-wide screen or widescreen than the tall vertical ones, because the tall vertical ones don't adapt well and don't orient your apps appropriately like just a wider screen does. So like I showed off in my full review, you can bring up three column designs. So you can put 3 different apps basically, or functions in the 3 different categories, and you can switch between them pretty easily and pull them up full screen if you want to. But you can also swipe over, get your nice app layout there, and you can switch between full screen apps. Not, this portion of the screen and then this portion is black and then this portion is blocked off. Like, no, you can have full screen apps, and that applies not only to like things like navigation, radio, voice memos, driving information, but it also applies to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which I would assume a large portion of the user base that has a car like this is going to use, because they're more used to it. It's more of everyone, not everyone, most people have either an Android or an Apple device. So you're familiar with one or the other, or both in some cases, but you get Apple CarPlay full screen. Now, Android Auto doesn't really work full screen. I think it'll get patched eventually to where it will work full screen, but from what I've read, it kind of has a limitation there. But as far as I know, iOS works perfectly. It's just the full screen. It looks beautiful. It's super fluid. This screen is one of the most fluid screens I've ever seen. It's fantastic. And it's all right here on that 10.25 ultra wide screen. Super cool. Additionally, you get your rear camera, front facing camera, 360-degree camera, all that kind of stuff. Takes up the full screen, so you get to use all of that real estate to see what is around and behind and in front of your car. So super, super nice, beautiful screen there. That is the 10.25-inch infotainment screen. Now let's move on to number 5, and that is the heads-up display. Now I'll show you guys this so you can see it a lot easier, but basically there's not physical gauges that you can control the heads-up display with like you can on some other vehicles. So how you'll navigate and adjust that is going to Setup on your Infotainment Center, go to Vehicle, and then you'll go scroll down to, or it's actually the first one, heads-up display. You can either enable it or disable it, and then you've got display control, and this basically lets you raise, lower, rotate, brighten, or dim the display depending on what you need. I had to raise it. It was a little low for me. Then you can change what content you want to see in there. So if there's something you just don't even bother with, turn it off. And then you can change the color of the number. So you can change the speedometer number to green, to orange, or to white, and you can change the size. So I like to make it large, and then I like to change it to something that stands out a little more, so I usually change it to orange. So all that's right there, customizable. Now, if you're not using any of the safety features, they won't be visible on this heads-up display. But once you start using them, like once you start using adaptive cruise control, once you start using the steering assistance things and the cruise control, setting that and doing navigation to where it shows turn by turn, all that will show up, but by default it doesn't. So it's super clean until you need all that information, which I think is fantastic. So now that I've got adaptive cruise control enabled, you can see that it's showing me the distance there. If I go ahead and lower that down, it starts to shrink or go back up. I just added some turn-by-turn navigation too, so that you can see what that looks like there when we've got it on the heads-up display. So it's telling me I need to turn left up here. All that works just right alongside the safety features and everything else that's working on that heads-up display. So that is the heads-up display, super nice. It looks really clean, looks really high res, not a lot of complaints there. So that is number 5. So number 6 has to do with the steering assistance features. Now I kind of mentioned a few of them earlier on, but I want to talk about 2 main ones: lane keeping assist and lane following assist. Now we have 2 locations here at Bachmann. We have a Louisville location and a Southern Indiana location. So our Hyundai and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram are in Indiana, and then our Chevy, Subaru, and Volkswagen and commercial departments are here in Louisville. So I work here in Louisville, so when I have to drive over to Indiana to get one of these types of cars, it's a 10 to 15 mile drive to get over there. So when I do drive these cars, I get a lot more time actually driving them and testing some of the features. So once I made my full review, I had to drive it back. I enabled lane keeping assist and lane following assist, and I was blown away. The car is basically driving for you. Now, I did take some video on my phone because I was so blown away by it, and I'll show you some of that here on the screen. But basically, it gives you warnings to keep your hands on the wheel, and you really always should keep your hands on the wheel just in case. But really, this is a level of nearly autonomous driving. It's probably tier 2 as far as autonomous driving goes. But basically, it uses the cameras and the safety systems to keep you in the center of the lane. And if you're using adaptive cruise control as well, which I was, in relatively free-flowing traffic, it basically drives itself. It stays a certain distance away from the car in front of me. If that car in front of me starts to slow down, it will start to slow down. And then when that car moves away, it'll start to speed up again. And with the lane following assist, it just turns the wheel just on its own, following right along the lanes, even in sharp curves. And when we went through a tunnel, it still didn't affect it, still kept going, even on some pretty significant turns. I was blown away. You can basically just sit here, maybe keep a couple fingers on the wheel just in case something gets dicey, but this thing will drive itself. So it's doing a lot of things here. Not only is it auto-correcting the steering to keep me in the middle of the lane, but it's also using the smart adaptive cruise control to determine how close the car is in front of me and maintain a certain distance that I preset in there. And that overrides the miles per hour that I put in there as my cruise control speed, which I put at 68. But as you can see, it's at 55, 54, it's slowing down because the car in front of me is slowing down because traffic is starting to build up a little bit. If I were to decrease that distance on there, it's gonna allow me to remain closer to the cars in front of me while still maintaining that same system. Now when the cameras get jacked up, it starts doing that whole number, but for the most part, about 95% of the time, it works correctly. So as you can see, the car in front of me again is slowing down, and this will bring me to a complete stop if that car in front of me were to come to a complete stop. So it's basically autonomous driving. Again, there it is, turning me around a curve. It might cause some issues here and when we go in this tunnel, but we'll see. Slowing down again. No, it's doing all right in the tunnel. But it's slowed all the way down to 49, even though I've set my speed to 68 because of how close that car is in front of me. Now, as that car starts to go away, my speed increases. And it will get me all the way back up to 68 as long as that car in front of me is a safe distance away, which is what it's doing right now. And it's fantastic. It is so convenient. You don't even have to put your foot on the gas pedal. It is awesome. So I'll show you guys plenty of footage of that here, but super, super cool. Technology is amazing. That combined with every other of the SmartSense Hyundai safety features that we've got in here, forward collision warnings, alerts, rear cross traffic alerts. You've got your blind spot monitor with the on the digital dash, where if you use your turn signal, you get to see what's directly behind you with the camera that's on the mirror. Just the full amount of technology in this vehicle really is fantastic and pretty unprecedented at this price point. So I'm really impressed with what Hyundai's done here on the 2020 Sonata. All right, guys, and those are the top 6 tech features inside the all-new 2020 Hyundai Sonata. Now, I could have picked a couple more, and there are plenty in this vehicle, but I wanted to do kind of a broad strokes overview and give you an idea of what I think really makes this sedan stand out. Now, drop a like on the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what's your favorite new tech feature? Or did I miss one that is your favorite? Let's have a conversation about it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see our full review of every single new Hyundai model as soon as they hit our lots. We'll see you in the next one.